Of course, there have been those who believed that the Tesla Cybertruck was going to be nothing but, kind of a inner city status symbol, not very good for off-road. But then there's this. Slightly modified. The guys seem to have a lot of fun modifying it.
We're just going to get wild right off the bat here. We're going to go up a real steep powder hill. That doesn't feel real steep at all, actually. Wow. Wow, dude. Yeah, that's incredible. This thing, it really is kind of the perfect vehicle for this setup because it has all that instant torque and horsepower from the electric motors. These Hell tracks are built to withstand a lot of power. I mean, they bolt them on the 1,000 horsepower, Hellcat powered Jeep Gladiators all the time. Gladiator is a little bit lighter than this, but it's got beefier axles, so it can hold the power. This thing, now that we've kind of done the modification of the drivetrain, this is insane. Like, it feels so stable. I would feel totally comfortable loading this thing full of skiers and going to the top of any ski resort around, like the steepest runs.
So that was the first one. Let's go on to the second one. Then there's this.
Yeah, any ideas? If you guys got any ideas for this thing, let me know, because we'll do whatever. I don't care. We'll blow this thing up. Whatever you guys want to do. What's yours is mine. How'd it look? The landing was like butter, dude. Let me go a little faster. I heard something. I'll be honest, I like this vehicle. It's pretty fun. They got this little off-road mode, but we keep having to open the door and shut it to get it back into the mode. If this video gets 1 million likes, we'll take this to Baxter Street and jump it.
It can't run for any white smoke. Can't run for any white. They can't run for any white smoke. Run, nigga. Ain't go shot, blow, don't lose your life without no hate. White without no smoke, can't sell crack without no dope, can't think without no glove, can't go switch it, don't hit top. You know I'm staying at home if I can't get out on my work or play my diamond TV shine. My fuck cause I know she green flames, bitch, you can't wake up from this. It's not stranger thing, they fuck this shit might jump up out the roof, but they drink on that. I was there, shit with your name, nigga, wait, nigga, by litty fuck, I got a white, where do you two here get your bitch full of pound, basic gloss, and I look we can't spin enough. Hey, shout out to my dad. Where get at if he be spinning stuff.
So I am pretty sure that these trucks are not, for off-roading. So while I've got it on screen share, I did want to take and show you. Bradford Ferguson posted this today. This is a particular lot in Shanghai that he believes and others believe that this is going to be where they're going to build the Shanghai Megapactory. He says the evidence would be the angular corner there as opposed to just a straight off corner. This angle makes it look like a Tesla type product. In any case, you can take that for what it's worth, but it might be the place. And this is not based on research from Bradford. This is somebody else's research. And Bradford was just posting about it. All right, where do we go from there? Well, we have lots and lots and lots of news today. It just goes on. And this is, of course, Randy Kirk. If you like what we do on this channel, you know what to do. I don't have to tell you. Please hit the like button. As we always do on Mondays, we will have Brian White at around the noon hour, California time, and then Larry Goldberg helping with Good News Friday. And I'm confident that tomorrow is going to bring good news, aren't you? As confident as I can possibly be. All right, and then all right, let's talk about the coming week. We've got earnings report. I think this will be the biggest one of the week. We got Costco and Target both doing their earnings this week, but I think Costco is going to be the more important one. We've already heard from Walmart. We've heard from some others. I think that Target's core audience is not that different than Walmart, and Targets are kind of similar. Costco, different audience, different group, different kind of store, different kind of approach. I think their analysis could be very, very valuable in terms of going forward, both in terms of how do they do, store for store so far? What is their guidance? What do they think is going to happen in the next quarters? That's going to be important. And then also, what do they think if they give us any information on inflation? I think that would also be valuable to know about. That'll be on Thursday night. So Bradford Ferguson will be on Thursday night with me. We'll talk to Bradford about those results, and I'm sure he'll have some comments to make at that time. Now, speaking of Bradford Ferguson, he's going to go on that coast to coast trip, going through a bunch of cities. He's going to take 2 weeks to do it using version 12 of FSD. I'm talking to him about how we're going to intersect with him during the week, not just on Thursday night, but I mean, as he's doing the trip, I want him to come in and give us a kind of a step-by-step. What's he learning? What is he finding out as he goes coast to coast with version 12? All right, what about stuff that's coming up this week besides the Target and Costco earnings reports? Well, we've got the job numbers coming in at the end of the week, of course, always on Friday, but of course, ADP on Wednesday. We've got the initial jobless report on Thursday, and then the regular Labor Department numbers on Friday. Now, remember last month, we got these crazy numbers, 335,000 increase or something nuts like that. What kind of a revision are we going to see this week? That's going to be my question. Is it going to be revised downward a lot? What are they going to do? Even, they go back 2 months and sometimes even more. They revise the numbers in previous months. Maybe they revise December's again as well. What is going to happen with those numbers, those revisions? That, I think, is maybe almost going to be more important than the numbers that they come up with for February. But the February numbers, even if those numbers are not revised dramatically, what will February show? Are we having a continuation of crazy numbers like that? Or did they fall off a roof? Fall off a cliff, off a roof. Where did I come up with that? Anyway, we'll see what those numbers are on Friday. That, of course, will be the biggest news of the week. But we do have, in addition to ADP and everything else I just mentioned, we got Chairman Powell giving his semi-annual report to Congress. That'll be on Wednesday and Thursday. Obviously, there's plenty of opportunity for that to be market moving in any direction that you can possibly imagine and changing direction several times a day as he does respond to the questions of Congress. Then we've got a bunch of other Fed presidents and whatever their governors, whatever their names are, they're going to be all over the place this week as well. Tons and tons of potential there for, of course, moving markets. Right now, I'm wondering if the Fed is waiting for something to break. I'm beginning to think that that's really what they want. They want to believe that the economy is going to go to zero or to slightly negative. They're not waiting for 6 months or 8 months in a row of good numbers from inflation. They've already got that. That can't be what they're waiting for. They're waiting for something to break. They want to have cover for the reason that they finally lower the rates. I don't know. It's getting weird to me. I still sit on the fence. I know it's not like me not to take a stand, but I am 50-50 on a recession. And I'll let you know. I think the Costco numbers can really be helpful, and also the labor numbers on Friday. Maybe by the end of the week, I'll be able to make up my mind. All right. Speaking of inflation, Truflation was up a tiny bit this morning, but still way down. So 1.63%. They've been under 2% for the entire month of February and now into March. It'll be really, you have to wait a whole week and a half before we get to the CPI. I think it's a week from Tuesday or Wednesday, and then the PPI right after that. All that'll be coming up, the following week. So before we get the official numbers, what we've got right now is Truflation saying, look, it's fine. It's great. It is time for the Fed to act. Actually, interestingly, Truflation doesn't think it's time for the Fed to act. They think that they should stay where they are. They think they should stay higher for longer, even though we've already got numbers well under 2%, according to them. All right. On Tuesday, we have factory orders coming in. That I won't be able to report until Tuesday night. That's expected to be down dramatically. We've seen all kinds of negative manufacturing information. Last month, it was up slightly, up 0.2%, but the economists that were polled think it's going to be down 3.1% on factory orders. What is the Fed waiting for? If that's true, if that number comes out, do they need, anyway, then we've got, then we got the ISM services report. Everybody's looking, that's what the Fed keeps saying, that they're waiting for services and housing. Those are the two biggies that they're waiting for some action, some kind of a negative numbers. And ISM services last month at 53.4, expected to drop a little bit to 53.1, but that would still be pretty strong. And then on Monday and on Tuesday, as mentioned, we've got a bunch of Fed presidents. We got Tom Harker, if you care, Tom Harker on Monday. We've got Michael Barr and twice, actually 2 different times, Michael Barr on Tuesday. All right, Wednesday, that's when we get the ADP employment numbers. Here, listen to this. Economists believe that that number is going to go up 150,000. Last month it went up 107. They're thinking it's going to go up 150. I assume that this is partially at least reflected, because the big number from the Labor Department numbers last month, maybe they're thinking it's now going to be reflected in ADP. Boy, I'd be surprised if the number was that high, but I have no special information on this. No way to be able to say one way or the other. As mentioned, now that'll be 8:15 in the morning, 8:15 Eastern. So I will be able to report on the ADP number on Wednesday morning. Then the Fed chairman speaks, as we mentioned already. Then we have wholesale inventories. Won't be able to report that till Wednesday night with Jeff Lutz. Wholesale inventories expected to drop, according to the economists. Last month it was up 0.4%. This month they're saying it's going to be down 0.1%. We have had some other inventory analysis from other reporting that suggests that that is definitely the direction currently. We'll see what happens on Wednesday. And then the job openings report comes out also on Wednesday. Last month that was down to 9 million. Remember, it was as high as 11 million job openings. They're expecting that the economists that were polled expects that to drop to 8.9 million. Yeah, I wouldn't be at all surprised to see this start to drop even more, but we'll see what happens on Wednesday with that one. All right, then we got more Fed President Mary Daly. We got Minneapolis Fed President Neil Kashkari speaking also on Wednesday, and then the Federal Reserve Beige Book on a Wednesday afternoon. Again, that'll have an opportunity. Jeff Lutz and I can have a conversation about that one. The Beige Book is, of all the stuff the Fed puts out, most of it's not very respected. The Beige Book gets a lot of respect. So we'll see what the Beige Book has to say on Wednesday. Okay, Thursday, we get initial jobless claims. They're expecting that to be in the same, this range. It's been 195 to 220, something like that, almost every month now, every week now for months. They're expecting 218, which will be slightly higher than the 215 from last week. Then you've got the U.S. productivity revision. So this is, last month was the quarterly number, which was at 3.2%, a very strong number, excellent number. For whatever reason, they're thinking that'll drop to 3.1. I don't know what they see. What could they possibly be looking at that would cause them to think this is going to drop a 0.1%? Anyway, we'll see on that one. That one comes in at 8:30. Therefore, I'll be able to speak about it on Thursday morning. U.S. trade balance is also coming out that morning, and that is expected to drop a ton. Last month, up 62 billion. This month, they're thinking it'd be down 63 billion. So the trade balance would be even for 2 months, taking 2 months into consideration, be even. That's interesting. I'm going to dig into that for you. I'll give you some more information on that later. Then we've got Thursday afternoon, where Bradford Ferguson and I can talk about that, is the consumer credit number. That is, last month was up 1.6 billion. This month, they're expecting that to be up 10 billion. So that would be like a recovery from the Christmas, like everybody said, oh no more, I'm not going to spend any more money on credit in January, but by February, they're starting to spend again. I don't know. We'll see what happens. All right. Then on Friday, New York Fed President John Williams speaks in the morning. And then we have non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, hourly wages, and hourly wages year over year, all coming out in the morning. So Friday morning, you'll want to be here bright and early with me, and we'll talk about all of that and what it means or what I think it means or what other people think it means. Because I look at lots and lots of reporting before I go live. Well, sort of live. Before I start recording, I've looked at a lot of headlines and looked at a lot of copy about what people have said about this before I then give you kind of my thinking on it. So then don't forget that when we have the Friday jobs report, Friday night or early Saturday morning, Kathy Wood does her thing. Larry and I will be watching that, watching every minute of it. Now, it is next Saturday is Larry's birthday. Did you know that? I won't tell you how old he's going to be. I'll just say he's 2 years older than me. Anyway, so I'm hoping Larry will be able to join us. I think he will on Saturday morning, but I'll double check during the course of the week and make sure he'll be able to join me on Saturday morning to give you that analysis. If he can't make it, I'll check out and see if Jeff Lutz might like to take that spot. But I think Larry will be with us. All right. I'm hoping that this week, with all of this data coming in, that maybe we'll be able to start, the economists, the analysts, Larry and Jeff and I and others that and Bradford who dig into this economic and stock market information. It'd be lovely if maybe we finally got a little bit of, a feeling of understanding at least about where the economy is. Are we just going to have this soft landing and maybe it's going to be okay for another couple of quarters or all the way into the rest of the year? Is inflation really under control? We'll hear more about that the following week. But right now, everybody that you talk to, everybody that I read has this confusion about where we're going, what's going to happen. And that confusion is never good for the markets. So let's take a look. Speaking of the markets, excuse me, let me grab down. I didn't have my phone. Let's take a look now where the markets are right now. Okay, as always, we'll start with the bonds, and the bonds are up almost 2 basis points in the pre-market. That is on the 10-year, of course, and that is pretty much across the board, even into the short-termers. Everybody in that range of up 2 basis points. But that means the 10-year is only back to 4.2. So my number, 4.25. I don't want it to ever go over 4.25 again. So this is indicating that the bond market, at least right now, thinks that things are okay and that interest rates are not going to be bumped up and they're probably going to be bumped down. Even though it's the rates are up a little in the pre-market, we're still at that 4.2, which would indicate a feeling of ease, if you will. All right, let's go into the oil. We got the oil up 8 cents at $80. So oil is still sitting here right at the $80 mark. Brent is 370 higher, 362 higher, and that's less than normal. So that's coming very, very close to the normal $3 spread. So the Red Sea thing must be really not affecting the oil market very much right now as we go out of winter. Don't tell that to the people in the Sierra Nevada this weekend. As we go out of winter and into the springtime, before we get to the driving season, sometimes the oil market is a little bit kind of neutral. Natural gas up 3%. Interesting that natural gas, but it's 189. So it's getting a little stronger here. We got the dollar dipping on weak data, it says. I'm just going to read you the headline because it's too hard. It's up against the yen and down against the pound and up against the euro. And so I just look at the headline and I look at the euro and I kind of always try to judge it based on that. If you've got a better way, send me a better way to try to give you an update on the dollar every day. We have got gold down $6 in the pre-market, but it's sitting at 2,089. So we're very close to getting back into some very top, all-time highs for gold. It's not crossed over 2,100 yet, but you're getting really, really close right now. Copper is down a tiny bit here in the pre-market, sitting at 386. I did a deep dive on that the other day. This is definitely kind of in the middle of where it's been. I mean, copper doesn't really trade in a broad range. Like the high would be 450, the low might be 320. So being at 385, I mean, there's not a huge range on copper. And so it's a little harder, I think, to use this as a canary because it's such a short range. But obviously, if copper is under strain, that would say the economy is doing well. If it is going super, super lower, that would tend to say that the economy is not doing well. All right, but there you go. It's just an update. Bitcoin again pressing at that 64,000. It's at 63,675 right now. It's up 1,741. It is, obviously right now the momentum seems to be upward on that. Okay, on the equities, we've got the Dow down 46, the S&P down 4, and the NASDAQ up 5. So count the S&P and the NASDAQ as it's basically flat. What was that? Unch. Bradford says it's unch. For unchanged, for those of you who weren't here Thursday night, for unchanged. And then we've got the Dow is down 45, which is 0.11%. So it is down at least enough to care about. All right. I think other than reminding you that tomorrow it's Brian White at the noon hour in California, and then Larry around 4-ish, 4:30, 5 o'clock, something like that in California is when we publish. Of course, earlier today, 2 videos that you should be watching, 3 actually over the weekend that you should be watching. If you didn't see my earnings analysis from Saturday morning, you should be looking at that. I did an analysis of 2026. I think it's worth looking at. So I'm going to put that card up. And then this morning early, what did I do this morning early? Oh yeah, let's see. I forget. But I did have Larry Goldberg in the middle of the day. All of a sudden, Larry Goldberg put up a big old report on the energy future, which, if you look at what he had to say, kind of is reflected in my earnings report from Saturday morning. So I'm going to put that card up as well. You want to go back. He takes a look at it all the way out to 2028 and shows where energy profits are going to pass car profits over the next 5 years. I think he's right. I think, in fact, he and I would both agree that what he's showing you is really conservative. He's only looking at one new plant, one new megapactory per year. I don't think you think, or I think, that it's only going to be one new megapactory per year. And so I would highly recommend those 2 videos. And then look for that one in between that was published this morning. Oh, I know, it was your questions and answers. It was great. You guys have the best comments, and the questions that you ask are phenomenal. And so I did something on that this morning. So I'll put all 3 cards up for you to go and take a look. All right, it's been great as always talking to you.